In this video, we will talk about how to simplify factorial expressions. So in math, this symbol right here, this exclamation point, is known as a factorial. And to figure out what 4 factorial is, we simply need to multiply 4 by every positive integer less than 4. So 4 factorial is equal to 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So that would be 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 is 24, times 1 is 24. So 4 factorial is equal to 24. So knowing this, let's work through a few examples of how we can simplify factorial expressions. All right, let's say we have the following expression, 7 factorial divided by 5 factorial. How could we simplify this? Well, 7 factorial is really just equal to 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And 5 factorial is just equal to 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So what we'll notice is that all of these values in the numerator will cancel out with all of these values in the denominator. And all we're left with is just 7 times 6, which is 42. So 7 factorial divided by 5 factorial is just equal to 42. All right, let's try this example. Let's say we have 9 factorial divided by 7 factorial times 2 factorial. How could we simplify this one? Well, in the numerator, we have 9 factorial, which is equal to 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5, on and on and on, all the way down to 1. And what we'll notice is that this portion right here, from 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, this is all the same as 7 factorial. So what we can do is we can say, well, we can just cancel out this 7 factorial in the denominator with this 7 factorial in the numerator, or in other words, all of these values. So what we're left with is 9 times 8 divided by 2 factorial. So let's write that right here. 9 times 8 divided by 2 factorial, that's 2 times 1, which is just 2. So what we get is 9 times 8 is 72. And then we have divided by 2. 72 divided by 2 is 36. So that's our final answer. All right, let's try this one. Let's say we have n factorial divided by n minus 2 factorial. How can we simplify this expression? Well, remember when we said we have something like 4 factorial? We could rewrite that as 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Another way to rewrite that is 4 factorial. That's the same as 4 times, instead of writing 3, we could just say 4 minus 1, since that's the same as 3. And instead of writing 2, we could say 4 minus 2. And instead of 1, we could say 4 minus 3. So in that same line of thinking, we could rewrite n factorial as n times n minus 1. So whatever n happens to be, we're multiplying it by one integer less than that. And then we have n minus 2, n minus 3. So this is how we could rewrite the expression n factorial. Now the trick here is when we're trying to simplify an expression like this, we just need to rewrite n factorial until we reach the expression that matches the expression in the denominator. So until we get to n minus 2. So here's what we can write. N factorial is n times n minus 1 times n minus 2. And now that we've reached n minus 2, we can stop there and say factorial. So in the denominator, we have n minus 2 factorial. And notice that these two expressions will cancel out since they're the same. And all we're left with is n times n minus 1. So that will be our final answer. All right, let's try one more example. Let's say we have n plus 2 factorial divided by n minus 1 factorial. How can we simplify this expression? Well, remember we said in the previous example, we need to rewrite this expression in the numerator until we reach a term or some expression that matches this term in the denominator. So let's go ahead and rewrite the numerator. So we would have n plus 2 times, what's 1 less than n plus 2? That would just be n plus 1. Times, what's 1 less than this? Well, that would just be n by itself. Times, 1 less than n is n minus 1. And boom, we've reached the term that matches the term in the denominator. So we can say factorial divided by n minus 1 factorial. And we'll notice that these two expressions cancel out. So all we're left with is n plus 2 times n plus 1 times n. So that is our final answer.